Did the Egyptians build other shapes, or was it only pyramids? If licking a toad gets humans high, what happens if a toad licks a human? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life! Hello everybody and welcome back to This Paranormal Life, your favorite paranormal podcast where every week your hosts Rory and Kit investigate a brand new paranormal tale and decide once and for all whether it really is paranormal. Wow, we are diving into what I can guarantee you is an incredible episode of the podcast today, one that is so top secret that Kit and I are in the studio right now and we have redacted our own identities. I'm wearing black sunglasses and also black clothes. It looks like I've redacted my own body.
Yeah,
I'm a shadow. I'm a shadow man. Namodas.
You're like, hey, don't say that. You're like, you know, in like theater productions, when the guys come in and like start like carrying someone across the stage to make it look like it's, you know, they're just floating. You're like the guy who does that.
Yeah, if you're watching this podcast, it like a mic starts moving out of nowhere. The laptop opens up. You don't see anyone. I'm in the shadows. I'm in the darkness. I'm also hiding because I owe the government a lot of money and I have no intentions of paying it back.
Yeah, guess who filed their taxes on time? The guy completely redacted or the guy in the red jumper? I'm wearing the red jumper and the baseball cap.
The guy who uses his government name or the one who goes by the Shadow Man hosting this podcast? Which one do you think paid his government taxes?
Yeah, your look right now is definitely like the guy you know who just recently got divorced and really into Bitcoin in the same week. This is how he turns up on Facebook the next time you see him. Fully in black, redacted eyeballs.
Emotions redacted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, he's learned nothing from the divorce about being emotionally available. He's like, I'm never going to trust anyone again. It's like, bro,
that wasn't the problem.
You're 45. You should by now trust human beings.
I'm 45 years old. That means I need to get serious about diversifying my crypto portfolio. It's like, no, it means you need to find someone to spend your life with.
Y'all are going to be left behind in the next generation of wealth. It's like, bro, get off Facebook. You're not Warren Buffett, okay? You're on Facebook at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, all right?
I saw you on Facebook Marketplace trying to sell your refrigerator. So things clearly aren't going well for you. You don't even have food. No, Kit, the reason that we are redacted is because we are covering an episode today that is so real, so authentic, so headed towards a double yes that I think we need to protect our own identities as we kick off this episode. So let's do it right now. But a reminder, you can get extra episodes of this podcast and a bunch of other cool shit on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. If you sign up for that, we'll tell you our real names. You think our real names are Kit and Rory?
There's a lot more syllables where that came from, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Schmeichel.
So
shut the up! Don't tell them what it is. Can we beep that actually? Because Kit just blew my actual cover.
So over at patreon.com/This Paranormal Life.
Don't say it again, for the love of God.
He doesn't really look like a does he?
Don't, oh, son of a bitch. Listen, you need to stop telling people my real...
Yo!
What?
Chill!
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
Can we cut to an ad break?
Yeah,
can we please get out of here?
Okay, go to Patreon, support the show, support Michael and Craig over on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life.
So cursed.
We begin our story today with a small group of guests touring the rooms of a museum in Nevada. A museum that houses some of the world's most dangerous and cursed paranormal objects. The group shuffled through the halls as the guide led them down the dark corridors. Well, we've slowly reached the end of our tour. However, there is one more artifact in the museum. It's here, down in the basement. This item is one of our most special and most dangerous. So I will give you all a choice, to follow me or not. The group gathered together, exchanging hushed murmurs. I don't know if we should really go down there. I don't know. I think it might be a risky idea. But after a short debate, they decided to head downstairs. Very well then, follow me. The guide took them down into the basement of the museum, into a large room where one tall, flat object rested against the wall, steeped in a thick cloth. Please stand in a single line. You will have 10 seconds with the item. Any more could be dangerous. The host then whipped off the cloth to reveal what was resting underneath. A huge antique mirror. The group stared into the mirror. Don't stare in the mirror!
Well, don't unveil it then, mother. I'm starting to not like this guy. I'm the guy at the back of the queue. I'm starting to not like this guy's tone. All right?
That time will come. The time is now. Come forward to stare into the mirror.
Me, this guy.
One by one, the guests
One
approached.
star at TripAdvisor. That's what I'm giving this
Silence!
afterwards. Huh?
You will respect me in the mirror.
Yeah.
One by one, the guests approached the mirror, lit only by a single candle, and stared deeply into the worn glass. When the final guest stood watching their own reflection, they spotted something strange. Right in front of them, their eyes began sinking back into their own head, leaving nothing but black emptiness in the sockets. The guest's heart began to race until the guide threw the blanket over the mirror, and immediately, the guest could feel everything was fine. This is a real testimony from an individual who wrote about their experience staring into one of the most cursed objects of all time, Bela Lugosi's mirror.
Ooh, not something I've ever heard about.
I actually kind of couldn't believe that this hadn't come up in an episode of the podcast before. I know that raises a lot of questions. Trust me, we're going to hear all about what this thing is, who Bela Lugosi is, and the history of this object. But to start, as you may have guessed, this mirror is being held in the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, owned by the one and only Zak Bagans.
Oh, I didn't know about that either. Okay. Bro has diversified his portfolio. Zak Bagans, of course, of TV fame.
Yes.
Famous ghost hunter of the televised airwaves. He's been on TV a lot of years at this point.
Yeah, arguably quite a controversial ghost hunter, paranormal investigator, known for occasionally fabricating the truth.
Whoa.
Exaggerating paranormal experiences.
Rory's
I can say this because I'm classified. Don't even say my fake name, for God's sakes.
Oh, what's the point in having it then?
I want to be anonymous so I can talk shit about my contemporaries. Well, say what you want about Zak Bagans, but let me tell you, the shit that he has in his haunted museum is very hardcore. For example, the museum also houses artifacts such as the glasses of Ted Bundy, the serial killer,
Meowza!
fragments of Charles Manson's bones that were scraped from the incinerator after his body was cremated.
Good lord.
I don't even know how you get your hands on that.
Yeah.
That feels very illegal. And of course, the Dybbuk box, which is a cursed object we covered on this podcast before.
We did.
That famously almost killed Post Malone. But out of his entire collection, Bagans has said that Bela Lugosi's mirror is the object that scares him more than any other. Which is pretty insane. That's scarier than Charles Manson's burnt bones. I would think even being in the room with those bones, you're picking up a couple curses.
Honestly, that's kind of interesting because we don't really do anything to do with true crime. Is that a thing? Are the bones of serial killers haunted? It's a kind of cool artifact.
It's a piece of evil, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, even like Ted Bundy's glasses. I don't want to go anywhere near those things. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So to have all of those things, and you're also like, but the mirror is the scariest of them all. Hopefully it's not just because he has massive self-body issues. Let me tell you, when I was growing up, 14, 15 years old, the mirror was also the scariest object in my house.
Yeah.
Because I was roughly the size of and had the social charisma of a bag of elephant shit. So kind of peering into a reflection and seeing that looking back at me was the most horrible way to start any morning.
It was kind of crazy, wasn't it? Just how disappointing looking in the mirror was every day of your life.
As a teenager. As a teenager. Things got better, sure. Yeah.
If you're watching the video, there's clearly still some image issues going on with Rory and I.
We've redacted our own faces. That actually would have been a better reason for us to redact our faces today because we can't even look in mirrors.
Yeah, sorry.
That would have made sense.
I'm not saying I had some kind of devastating, like, psychotic dysmorphia, which caused me to hate my own face. I'm just talking straight up. The acne medication was not working fast enough. Oh my God. It doesn't even bear thinking about. But yeah, the spots. Mother Nature's joke. That's what I call it. Acne.
It is, that part of your life is so cruel where it's like, hey, welcome to puberty, where every emotion is heightened to a point of unbelievability, unreasonableness. The slightest thing will upset you and make you angry or sad or very, very depressed. And also, wake up. Here's a little mustache. Here's a big spot on your nose. And when you say hey to your friends in the morning, it's going to sound like this. Hey!
Yeah.
Here's just like a ton of like roadblocks.
And
traffic cones.
And Mother Nature.
Also, you have a boner now. You have a boner. Boner. That's what it would just be like.
Yeah, because Mother Nature, I'm looking out for you. And, we got to prepare you for a long and fulfilling sex life going forward. I know it's hard to wrap your head around now. So we got to get that dick hard.
Right now.
I'm thinking we practice in biology class when you stand up and have to talk to the classroom. Let's try right then and there. Let's just practice. Let's get everything going, trying it all out.
Yeah, they're like it's like Minority Report where they like control the computer screen with their hands, but they're just constructing your life. They're like, okay, he's about to give a presentation. I'm thinking boner voice crack combo. How about that? I like it.
It was hyper effective. Oh, boss, his crush Cindy's coming up to talk to him. What do we do? I'm thinking boner bad breath. I'm thinking bo boner bad breath. Sweat boner voice crack bad breath. It's like a Tekken combo.
Yeah, I think it's a testimony to how terrifying this thing is that Zach considers it the most horrifying, scary, and dangerous object in his museum. So much so that the museum actually often makes guests sign a waiver before they experience it, which does sound pretty over the top, but according to the museum and guides who work there, staring into this mirror really has some people up. To the point where they had to even call 911 after guests got physically sick from staring into the glass.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty hardcore stuff. Kit, I actually have a photo of the mirror right now that you can see. I believe this.
I don't think I wanna see it.
Well, it's not the mirror.
Hey, I didn't sign no waiver. Okay, your ass is on the line here.
It's just a JPEG on a Google Doc.
Ass.
So
is mine. If I
there you go.
Whoa. You can't make me look at that thing.
It's just a photograph. You won't actually be able to see your own reflection.
Look, it's almost Christmas. I gotta, there's a lot of stuff I want to live for. I just don't know if I want to be looking into any dark orbs.
It's not gonna haunt you like that. It's not cursed like that. You're safe to look at this photograph of it.
It's just,
I promise.
Am I crazy to start putting the dots together that you give me the super secret shades?
You're safe, bud.
Why are you winking in the camera? You give me the super secret shades, like right before we look at the mirror, which you die if you look at it.
These are shades of protection. It's like looking into an eclipse. These are cursed.
You pointed at yours and said these are shades of protection, and now that's got my brain thinking. Because
these are shades.
I saw
protection.
You take my shades out of a packet right before we started recording. You said, "Hey, where are these, bud?"
Yeah,
and then you said, "Oh shit, are these the right way around?" No, that's for sure your pair.
Yeah, mine came sealed in a metal case, and yours was in a Temu bag.
Yeah, I can see that. It says on the side. Okay, you can promise me everything's gonna be all right if I look into the glass.
Everything's gonna be fine. Wink. I shouldn't have said it for sure.
All right, I'm just gonna give it a go. All right, what do we got here? No, it's
boner, bad breath. There you go. Look,
what the hell am I looking at?
This is what it looks like in the museum. There's the mirror on the wall, the cloth over the top, and a little plaque to tell you what's going on here.
But who's the painting of the guy?
Well, I'm going to get onto that. It's obviously Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
But we don't know who he is yet.
I will say, I'll give it to them. I'll give it to old Zach. They've definitely
dressed it up.
Dressed this in a satisfyingly creepy way.
Yeah.
It's in fact, it's got a curtain draped over it, mostly covering the mirror, as if to glimpse at the mirror wholeheartedly, taking away the curtain, would be so foolish that they only give you a peek at it.
Yeah, you gotta like microdose that thing.
Well, it infers that its safe way of storing it is by completely covering it.
Covering it up. I guess if the power is in the reflection, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah, you're putting a lid on it. So what is this mirror and how did it end up with Baggins? Well, to find that out, we need to go back to the very beginning and ask the question we've all been asking. Who was Bela Lugosi? Now, some listeners probably are familiar, but for those who don't know, Bela Lugosi was a Hungarian-American actor in early Hollywood, made famous by playing the role of Count Dracula in the classic 1931 film.
Dope.
I know, real Hollywood old-school legend. Not only that, he also played Igor, son of Frankenstein, and roles in many other horror films from 1931 all the way through to 1956. Part of that Universal Monsters cinema moment, where it was kind of all these classic creatures being brought to the big screen. And Bela Lugosi was Dracula, arguably the coolest of them all.
Bella in the office with their agent, just like, another monster role? I feel like I'm getting typecast over here.
It's like, yeah, it's just, listen, I know that you're Hungarian and you come over here to the acting role, but it's just the voice and the hissing.
Sorry.
With our, no, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to apologize. It's just to kind of like American audiences, we usually kind of associate accents like that with a very specific type of role.
Because back in Hungary, this voice is like the frat bro.
Yeah.
So I've been writing a script I thought I could show you. It's a kind of a sexy teen comedy. I'm one of the frat bros. Maybe we play a little ping pong.
It's not ping pong, it's beer pong is the name of the...
the beer pong. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, the hiss again. Yeah, so no, this actually looks great. A few little creative tweaks here, though. So I see you you play the role of Thad, who's kind of leader of the fraternity.
That's right.
Who's 21 years old and new to the school. A little twist here. What if we made the character of Thad 2,000 years old?
Huh.
And instead of beer pong, blood pong? You know, I'm just spitballing here some ideas. Yeah, okay.
You're not taking me seriously.
Don't bring a cape to the auditions then, if you don't want monster roles, Bella. But was Bella's connection to the world of the paranormal more than just on screen? According to Zach's Haunted Museum, alongside his acting, Bela Lugosi was obsessed with the occult, particularly the practice of scrying. We're all on this podcast hopefully familiar with this term. Scrying is an ancient art of looking deep into a suitable medium, such as a crystal ball or a mirror, and connecting with either the other side or possibly glimpsing visions of the past or future. Does that sum it up in a reasonable way? Kind of magic, but there's only certain objects that it works particularly well with, such as mirrors. That's a very popular one, a scrying mirror.
Yes, we have the very popular media conception of looking into a crystal ball.
Yep.
You know, if you stop someone on the street and ask them why a crystal ball, why do we all think of that? They wouldn't know that it's probably to do with scrying. I think it's just a magical implement, but no, it's to do with scrying. And they're even less likely to know that you can indeed scry with a mirror or any reflective surface. Can even be a surface of water or a liquid.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. That's
Yes.
really good to know.
Which is, I think it's part and parcel of why even, again, in other historical accounts and other media and mythologies, you know, you have things like a magic lake. Maybe, you know, you sit at the edge of the lake and look in, and like Frodo, you might see something wild, or like Narcissus, you might just look in and see and just stare at your own reflection. It's kind of like a hypnotic effect.
Yeah. We actually tried scrying and using a crystal ball on an old episode of the podcast, which was very cool.
That's right.
And then I saw a vision of myself getting resuscitated at a hot dog eating contest and decided that was enough for today.
Yeah.
And we put it on the shelf and covered it in a cloth because apparently crystal balls burn down buildings because the light hits them in a weird way and it creates a flame.
Oh, yes. We got a number of comments about that. Yes.
Yeah, they were like, be careful. It will. And we were like, oh, we'll be careful because of the dark arts. And they're like, no, if sunlight hits it, it burns down buildings. We're like, oh, shit. We left Phil alone with the ball.
I wonder like how many people in history have been like shown a crystal ball. It's like, oh, it's fun. It'll show you your future, you know, see what's coming for you type thing. It's like, oh, that could be fun. And the straight person looks into it and the crystal ball shows them a gay vision. And they're like, okay, we're done here. It's like, oh, what did you see? I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it at all.
Nothing. I didn't see anything.
Are you hard? No. No, why would I be? It's like, did it show you your future wife? It showed my future spouse. I'll tell you how much. Future something.
And is this like the future of like how things could end up? And it's like, no, it's like 100% hit rate. Okay, all right.
And I'm like into it or whatever. It's like, it's your
what did
future.
You see? You didn't tell me what you see.
Am I into it or whatever is a really funny thing to ask a psychic. So in this
like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, because I kissed a guy at college and like, I was fun, you know, but I just don't know. I didn't think of it as like a real thing. It's like, give me the ball back. The guides claim at the museum that Lugosi was particularly interested in contacting the other side, trying to make contact with his deceased wife.
Oh, sad vibes.
Very sad. And listen, I've seen enough horror movies to know that that is the worst idea possible.
Yeah, because next thing you know, you're going to make contact with her, all right?
Oh, yeah.
And something's going to be a little off, though.
Yeah.
With her, you know, when she comes back.
Or you're going to make contact and you're going to be like, oh my God, I missed you so much, baby. I can't believe that this worked. I'm so excited to try and find a way to bring you back to the world of the living. And she's like, sounds good. And you're like, oh.
I guess the rigor
Claire?
mortis has done something to her vocal cords. That's fine, though.
Yeah. Okay, no, Claire. No, it's really great because I really have been missing you.
Me too, sweetheart.
That's funny. She never called me sweetheart.
Yeah. Usually would call me my pet name.
What was the pet name?
You should remember, Claire, if you remember that you used to call
I used to call you
Cupcake.
Snookum.
Snuffums.
Snookum, yeah.
Snookums. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut your wrist and touch the mirror.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Oh, come on. Do it for Snookums.
For old time's sake, you know, I always loved when you would, you know, on a romantic evening together, cut your wrist and touch the mirror.
Come on.
I'm gonna pull the sheet over.
Don't pull the sheet.
This isn't cool. is it?
Serious. Don't pull the sheet.
Now, despite trying his best, according to the legends, Lugosi never fully managed to make contact with his deceased wife. But he may have done something even more dangerous, because scrying can open up a portal to the other side. And if your loved ones don't come through that portal, something else just might. Unfortunately, on the 16th of August in 1956, Lugosi passed away. And in a very cool move, he was actually buried in one of his Dracula capes in Culver City, California.
Wow.
The mirror, however, stayed in the apartment, covered up by a large sheet, gathering dust, until a man named Frank Saletri rented Lugosi's home. When he moved into the apartment, the mirror fell into his possession. However, he was totally unaware of its paranormal past. On July 12, 1982, local police were dispatched to Saletri's home for a welfare check after his friends noticed that no one had heard from him or seen him for a couple of days. When they opened the door, they discovered him slumped over the bed, lifeless. According to the police reports, he'd been shot in the back of the head,
Oh, God.
gangland execution style. Sadly, the murder remains unsolved to this day, with the only witness being Bela Lugosi's mirror.
Oh, no, sure. Not really a witness, just an object in the room, but I get what you're saying.
It
Maybe in
literally
magical
reflects.
terms.
Yes.
The light off the murder reflected through the mirror.
Which is kind of scary. We've talked in this podcast about how if a bad thing happens, there's such a thing as stone tape theory.
Yes.
where evil objects, evil deeds, and acts that are done can be soaked into a building, a place, the grounds, and that kind of pain and evil reverberates and echoes through time. That's how you get a haunted house, for example.
Never to be confused with stoned ape theory.
Which is the monkeys smoked weed, and that's how we became smart enough to build an iPhone.
Yeah.
But we've never seen anything like this. If you're talking about an object reflecting an evil event, this is a mirror. That's all they do is reflect events.
Yeah, and this mirror, I mean, this feels like a kind of a gremlin situation. You know, you don't feed the gremlins after midnight or whatever the
Yeah.
You just got a drop of blood on the blood mirror.
Right.
This thing's about to... It's going to be like one of those videos of a guy taking PCP and fighting the police. There's no telling what the mirror is going to do now.
Yeah. Because, you know, in a list of bad things you could do in front of a cursed mirror, I think shooting a guy in the back of the head is probably the worst. Just straight up murder in front of the mirror. That's definitely not going to help the vibe out at all. You should have, I don't know, like adopted a bunch of kittens in front of it. Or, you know, had a first kiss with a loved one in front of it. Something to kind of neutralize the evil. Have some really good soup. Just a wholesome event.
So odd.
I don't know, I'm just thinking of nice things.
As a cool little tidbit, I was talking to my wife about this the other day. I was listening to After Dark podcast. This is not sponsored.
Beep that.
After Dark
Don't promote any other shows on this podcast that aren't ours.
You
were listening to the After Party, I think. Our Patreon exclusive extra podcast every week.
No, it's the History Hit Network. They do.
Beep that too, for sure.
And I have a friend who actually works at the History Hit, so
Rory.
There's no shade there. No, his name's and you quite done.
Are you quite done, sir? This ad break in the middle of my episode.
Just trying to. I do have a point.
Okay.
They were talking about, because it's quite cool because they do sometimes paranormal stories, mythological stories. And I think one of the hosts is Irish. So they're talking about, they did an episode around Halloween about, I like them because when it comes to Halloween, previously they've done specials about like the Irish roots of Halloween. This year they did Irish funeral traditions for Halloween.
Cool.
And one I didn't know about because the Irish funeral tradition is quite rich. The tradition of the wake, which is somewhat unique and pretty special and still exists to this day. But there was elements of the wake, historical elements, which I didn't know, you know, because the wake is when you keep the dead body in the house of the family.
Also didn't know that this was a thing that didn't exist in other cultures.
Yeah.
Because I told someone that when my grandmother died, I went to see the body in her bedroom. And they were like, what the actual are you talking? Are you like, a crime scene investigator?
You killed her. You killed her yourself.
Yeah. And I was like, no, that's like a thing. You have the wake. They bring the body to the house, and they're like, now when I start saying it, that does sound insane.
You're right.
They bring a dead body into the house.
Rory was like, I just sat with the body for a while, you know.
Which is what you do.
No, I don't know.
Which is what you do. You sit in a room with the body and have a moment.
And people will be like, well, sure, is that so different to go into a funeral home? It's like, you all drink and party in the funeral home? Because that's what we do at the wake.
Yeah, you get lit.
There's just a bit of drinking going on and sometimes music and singing. But in a celebration of life way.
Yeah.
But the elements that I didn't know about were, there's kind of mysterious old elements to the wake, which I didn't know about. That if someone is dying in the home, and then, you'll transition from them dying through to their body being there for the wake, you have to open the windows in the house to let the soul fly out of the house.
What do they think? It's going to be bumping up against the glass like a bee?
Well,
like it can't get out?
It's similar to, the ancient Egyptians or something. They're like, all right, here, ancient Egyptians were like, here's all the shit you're going to need in the afterlife to make sure you get there.
Put a coin in the mouth.
And in Ireland, they're like,
pull that brain out.
Open the window as a courtesy to get this soul out to heaven as quick as possible. Not only that.
What a bizarre combination of beliefs that souls are real and they can't go through glass. That just seems so crazy to me.
Just give them a helping hand. It's like, yeah, it is like a bee. Now that you mention it, it's exactly like a bee being stuck. And also, whenever someone dies, you then have to stop all the clocks. I think because you're supposed to enter a kind of like timeless state. I'm quite serious. I think the idea is that when you go into the morning, it's this probably a similar reason why at like a wedding or a funeral or black tie event, you're not supposed to wear a watch. This is not really the same thing. But if you go to a wedding and you wear a tuxedo, you're not traditionally supposed to wear a watch because a watch would indicate that a gentleman has somewhere else to be. Whereas, you don't. It's like by not wearing a watch, you're saying this is the most important thing to me. I have nowhere else to be.
Yeah, because during your wedding ceremony, I was watching YouTube Let's Plays on my Apple Watch on full volume.
Rory had the speaking clock coming out of his Sony PSP. The time at the beep will be 12:05.
I was playing Angry Birds on my Android watch.
Yeah, he was playing Doodle Jump on his Meta Ray-Bans. But, and then the final one, they stop the clock so you kind of enter this timeless state whenever you're in the house. You also cover up all the mirrors.
Whoa.
And I believe they said, it was like, they were like, oh, what? The other host was like, why the mirrors? And they're like, I think it's like a soul might get trapped in a mirror or something.
Which is a really big thing. We could talk about this all day. We've talked about it before, not just with scrying, but there was an episode of the podcast where we talked about why is breaking a mirror bad luck?
Right.
Why do you get 7 years of bad luck? And it does stem from kind of ancient beliefs that souls can get trapped in mirrors. And part of that trap is breaking a mirror. You can get stuck and locked into that kind of world. It's actually very interesting. Very like ancient Egyptians, going back that long, but then all the way to just like Victorian times with those like superstitial games they would play, Bloody Mary, all of these different things, all linked with a mirror, which is very, very cool. That's actually very interesting. I did not know that the wake had that many steps to it. I don't think we stopped the clocks or covered the mirrors. So my grandmother's soul might still be in that house.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because we sold it.
Yeah.
The house is sold. I think demolished probably.
Yeah. And it's funny because I hadn't experienced any of those. That being said, I haven't been, my grandparents were long gone by the time I came along. So I haven't been close enough to the organizing of a wake to see that. But I mentioned it to my wife, Danielle, and she was like, yeah. She was like, yes, you didn't know that? Yeah, we do that all the time.
Wow.
So there you go.
That's crazy. Well, hey, there you go. Learn something new every day about Irish funerals. Back to today's story. As we just said, the new owner of the apartment was essentially shot and killed in front of Bela Lugosi's mirror. And guides at Zak Bagans' museum theorized that if Bela Lugosi had left any kind of portal open, all of the energy from the murderer looking into this mirror and also the energy from that horrific death would be trapped inside of it. Flash forward years later, and a young woman named Cindy Lee was sitting down with Zak Bagans, telling him a story he couldn't believe. I'm hoping to donate an object to your museum. A mirror that belonged to my uncle, who was tragically killed in 1982. Cindy Lee said that immediately after moving the mirror into her home, her and her daughter started to experience strange paranormal events. Cindy Lee said that if her daughter stared into the mirror for long enough, she claimed she could see some kind of dark entity inside of the mirror. When it appeared, she would feel bites on her neck. And that wasn't all. When she slept in the same room as the mirror, she'd be up all night suffering from horrible night terrors and would wake in the morning to find scratch marks all over her body.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Doesn't really get much worse than that. Save just actively killing you.
Yeah, because
biting her neck.
Biting her neck. We're talking about some kind of entity coming out of the mirror now. And we said it before, if scrying is a real thing that can open up a portal to the other side, and the first thing the other side sees is a guy getting shot in the head, the things that are going to come out of that portal are going to want to bite and scratch you. That's just math. Eventually, the psychological toll was too much, and Cindy knew that they had to get rid of the mirror. So they brought it to Zak, who, when interviewed about it, said, "She brought it to my museum. She was desperate to get rid of it. She didn't want to sell it. She didn't want to throw it away. That's how a lot of these items end up in my museum. People don't want to dispose of it. because they feel they could have some kind of retaliation from the entities.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, we've seen in other cursed objects, take an ancient Egyptian curse, for example.
Yeah.
An object might have a resting place that you Indiana Jones style remove it from. In that case, it feels obvious. We must repatriate the object.
Put it back.
That will probably make it happy.
Sure.
But if it's a thing that's just evil to begin with,
What do you do with it?
yeah,
It's a tricky situation.
I think that's how you end up with the kind of Dorian Gray painting in the attic. You just hide it away, blanket over it,
Yeah.
and hopefully it doesn't rear its ugly head again.
I remember that being a big thing when we investigated the British Museum. And do you remember they said, they were like, yeah, a couple times a year we'll just get sent a mysterious package that is just like an ancient artifact
Yeah,
sent from someone who's like, take this. It's ruined my life.
yeah,
Like I stole it and now I have a mummy's curse. So I'm just giving it to you guys because I'm too scared of what will happen if I smash it with a hammer.
yeah. I heard someone saying that. I think it was a friend of the show, Dan Schreiber.
Yep.
I want to say he was talking about maybe somewhere like Uluru in Australia. You know, one of those like ancient holy sites where people just nick rocks from it. They just sort of steal a rock.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's Uluru. He's like, they have to have like a little post office there because they receive so many parcels from people who've stolen rocks and then believe that they're having such terrible luck because they did this naughty thing. So in the rock that they're like, man, the rock has cursed me. I've got to send it back to you guys so you can chuck it back on the mountain. And they're like, please stop sending it because now these rocks are like contaminated from being in different places around the world. They've got different life forms. Like what if it had just a microbe or a seed or some kind of sign of life that would be not native to the local habitat? So like, please, if you steal something, just keep it. We don't want it back.
Yeah. This is kind of like when we were on tour with the podcast and a number of times at live shows, people would just give me drugs afterwards.
It's a lot like that.
And
exactly, actually.
I, of course, never did any of the drugs. Wink. You can't see what I did because I have my eyes redacted.
Yeah, we heard it, though.
But then sometimes before you flew the next day, you're like, oh, I can't fly with drugs. So what do? I can't just put them in a bin.
Feed it to a local street cat.
Yeah, what if I, put it in a bin and a child finds it? I don't know what to do with the drugs.
Child's fault for raiding the bins, isn't it?
So it's tough. It's like a cursed object. How do I get rid of this thing? And
Sorry,
luckily,
I was really hoping for a resolution there. What did you?
No, I sold it to a bunch of teenagers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Which is like it. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. Yeah.
I performed a miniature private MK Ultra experiment on a bunch of 15-year-olds to see what it would do to them. If you guys could just fill out this survey when you're done with the acid.
Yeah, and it's tough because this is a mirror too. So what are your options? I'll destroy it. Great. 7 years bad luck. Perfect. It's a tough one to kind of get rid of. Unfortunately, that retaliation, as Zach said, was simply directed towards him now. Shortly after accepting the haunted mirror, the basement of the museum flooded, and when Zach went down to investigate what was going on, he witnessed the sounds of banging and rattling coming from the lifeless mirror. He also claims that on a separate occasion, he witnessed a ball of light that appeared on the opposite wall of the mirror, and he watched it travel across the room and then go back inside the mirror.
Yeah, okay. It's a yes.
It's well, sorry, we're not there yet.
Sorry. Sorry, you just said orb?
A light. A ball
floated
of
across
light.
the room, came out of the mirror, then went back inside it like Super Mario into a painting.
It jumped into the mirror like the Matrix.
Then there's only one word for it.
Yes?
Yeah.
Well, I like this energy. This energy. We're not quite at conclusions yet. There's a little bit more to our story.
All right. Well, you know where I'm coming down.
Kit, you'll be excited to hear that even though Zach has had his own paranormal experiences with the mirror, in an episode of the TV show Deadly Possessions, they did a whole segment on the mirror where Zach Baggins in his museum actually gathered up some quote-unquote volunteers to spend some one-on-one time with the mirror and see if any of them were personally affected by staring into it.
Okay, cool idea.
I have that footage right here. I thought we could watch it and kind of review this paranormal experiment.
Roger that. Let's hear it.
I have an experiment that I'd like to do with all three of you. Ashley, our still photographer, works on Ghost Adventures. Aaron?
Yes.
What's your name?
Jackie.
You're a production assistant
Yes.
on the show here. And this is your first day?
Yep.
Did you ever think that you would be on camera doing something?
No.
Welcome to our world.
I'll pause it right there to start. He's obviously just kind of gathered up literally just 3 people who were within his eyesight. You know, these aren't necessarily people who've had their own paranormal experience. Well, that girl said it's her first day. And he's putting her in a room with a mirror. This is really in the deep end.
I really like his obvious preference for each employee of Ghost Adventures LLC, where he's like, this is Andrea. She does an amazing job around here. She runs the show pretty much day to day. This is Jack. Anyway, who are you?
What's your name, Aaron? Yeah, cool. And this is Maria. This is your first day. Wow. Does not give a shit about Aaron. Okay, they're heading down to spend some one-on-one time with the mirror.
Down in the isolation chamber, we like to isolate people with interesting objects. One at a time. I want you to go downstairs. You're gonna see a mirror. I want you to stare into this mirror. And I want you to look at yourself in this mirror until I call you up. That's all I'm gonna say. So everybody, right hand up. I give permission
Give permission.
that I can be used in this isolation experiment.
Not a contract.
I don't think that's legally binding. He also really threw all of the important information in the end of that. He was like, I give permission for my body to be used in the isolation chamber experiments that may corrupt my soul. I was like, no, I wouldn't have even started if I'd known we were going to end with that bit.
And they sound so not excited to agree to this.
None of them agreed, by the way. I think they're going down there because they don't want to get fired, but none of them have agreed.
I'm serious, I need to hear it.
And I approve it's okay.
As I send them downstairs one by one, they all appear to have different experiences depending on how they choose to interact with the mirror.
All right, it's Aaron's turn.
Aaron, lock in,
Come out and
Aaron.
show yourself.
Come on, show yourself. He's about to throw hands.
Dude.
I like the way Aaron looked at it, and it was like a dog seeing their own reflection. He's like, "Who the is that? Who the is? Oh, I hear.
Hey, let me out of here.
Yeah.
You got a problem, wise guy? Yo, why is he looking at me like this? It's like, Aaron, it's you.
Is there something in the mirror that wants to come out?
Whoa, dude.
Oh, bro, they lost Aaron. Aaron is gone.
Dude, I just found myself old. Really old.
The girls so far, nothing. Aaron is like, I just saw myself old. Really, really old.
Even Zach looks disappointed. He's like, that wasn't even a thing the mirror can do. Like, I think he's just having a moment with his own reflection.
I was like, bro, you're just 37. You're just, hey, it's natural. A couple gray hairs, couple lines in the forehead.
No, you don't get it. I used to be like a young guy. It's like, no, you're just aging, Aaron.
Aaron apparently had a reaction to the mirror. Sometimes it just takes the right energy to unlock.
If you're in the room here with me, which I believe you are, can you show yourself in this mirror?
Bro, they're about to lose him to the shadow realm. He's about to get got.
I always like this when we can't do these kind of experiments ourselves, that we can at least see the results of somebody else's experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. I think for Phil's sake, it's good we didn't have to do this.
Right.
Because it would be me and you in the control room. We'd obviously send editor Phil into the eye of the storm.
Yeah, but that's obviously just part of his job description. When he joined, we made him say, I promise.
Phil.
Yeah. Now, look, I heard you throw a little word around earlier before we even watched the experiments.
Right.
The Y word. I got you all jazzed up, got you all excited. Obviously, as professional paranormal investigators, we need to do our jobs. We need to work on the side of the skeptics and the believers.
Okay.
So, before we reach our conclusions, there are a few things that we need to clear up. Obviously, a lot of these claims today about the story, the origins of this mirror, come from Zach Baggins and his haunted museum. Needless to say, if you do know Zach, as we said, he's known to occasionally stretch the truth a little bit. So if you do some digging, you can easily find parts of the story that seem to have been fabricated. For example, the museum claims that Lugosi was obsessed with scrying so he could contact his dead wife. Well, Lugosi had been married 5 times in his life, and none of his wives died while they were married to him.
Right. Yeah, I like the story implied that Lugosi was capable of loving someone for so long that they died in tragic circumstances. And instead, he was clearly a player of some variety.
Yeah, he wasn't using the dark arts to reach out to his one true love. It's like he had 5 wives, and they all outlived him.
And they all hated him. They all hated him, actually. They divorced him.
There's also very little evidence to prove that Lugosi was ever a practitioner or obsessed with the occult. I can see why that rumor would spread. If this guy is known for being Dracula, he's in all the monster movies, he probably has a lot of memorabilia in his house, and he's linked with that kind of imagery. Sure, I could see how that would be a thing. But historically speaking, there's really no evidence to suggest he had a scrying mirror in his house. Granted, that is probably something you would keep a secret if you were into it.
Yeah. It's honestly kind of hard to know. I mean, you said this guy lived in LA, was buried in Culver City.
He was buried in a vampire cloak. You can see why the rumor spread.
Pretty cool. And like LA and Hollywood does have a tremendous history of all this kind of stuff. It is a great part of the world if you want to explore the alternative, the esoteric, the paranormal, and the dark arts. It's absolutely lousy with fortune tellers, psychics, tarot readers, and all these kinds of things. You know, throw a rock and you'll hit a couple of scryers, I would say. We've covered many stories, even kind of recently with that of Cairo, which is not a totally dissimilar time period, like early Hollywood era. And this guy was the fortune teller, the palm reader to the stars. So LA was full of people both practicing this kind of thing and interested in this kind of thing. And definitely, particularly in Hollywood, actors, producers, directors.
Yeah, so it's easy to see how these rumors could be spread so easily, but there is very little fact to actually prove that this was a passion of his. One individual who was interested in debunking some of the claims Zach was making actually reached out to the Lugosi family, and they did respond. They said to this individual, "I do not have a copy of the museum's script as it relates to Bela Lugosi, but from your information, it seems that the museum has made things up about his life to make a good story for the mirror's placement in the museum. We have no knowledge of Bela Lugosi being into the occult or scrying, quote unquote, or any desire or practice to contact a deceased wife. And again, we have no information about the mirror at the museum or the house from which the museum claims the mirror came."
Ouch.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
You know, and I will say as well, you know, I think we commonly think of, you know, we talk about the modern age of misinformation and the incentives, whether you be Zach Baggins, whether you be a podcaster like us. There is an incentive, of course, in the modern age to kind of dress up these stories, make them sexier, more appealing, more interesting, more paranormal in this case. It's important to acknowledge that this incentive has always existed. And you've seen it time and time again through the decades. I mean, probably since the early 1900s, there has been like books that are tremendously popular. Think of kind of Ripley's Believe It or Not, except we're talking just paranormal books. And so it might be a book about, sure, the stars in Hollywood and the crazy paranormal stories that surround them. Those books have existed for a long time. They've always been bestsellers. People have always loved reading them around the world. And they have always been very fast and loose with the truth. They are entertainment products. They never are held to the same standard as journalism or academic literature. There doesn't have to be any sources or anything like that. So
Kind of like this podcast.
exactly like this podcast.
Yeah, we're your hosts, fast and loose.
Have you met my wife, Miss Information? And we, and so these guys were absolutely embellishing stories in order to sell books in a kind of paranormal arms race. I'm not saying that's the origin of this, but that has always been the standard protocol for ghost stories. They are oral tradition. They get shared, repeated, and exaggerated.
Yeah. So, if you're the one that owns the mirror, you're obviously going to tell these stories. Maybe if the family still had the mirror, they would be like, oh shit, we can make some coin off of this thing. Yes, our grandfather was into scrying. But because they have no link to the mirror, they don't own the mirror. They're like, no, this isn't real. This is made up fiction, lies. The museum is lying to get people to pay to come see it. Granted, you can take away the Bela Lugosi stuff and the scrying and the portal to another world to contact a deceased wife. A dude did get his head blown smooth off in front of it. That's true fact. Whether or not it did belong to Dracula before it reached that point, the mirror saw some f***ed up shit.
Sure.
Whether that alone is enough to put like bad vibes into an object,
I don't know. I guess the point is, you know what else saw some bad shit? His paperweights, his socks.
Yeah.
Sitting at the
don't
edge.
put the socks on.
Sitting at the edge of the bed.
Don't put on the socks. You're going to see some wild shit.
He puts on the socks and they make him walk off a bridge.
Your feet get old. Aaron's freaking out because his feet are old.
Yo, I just saw my feet like old. Really, really old.
Yeah. It's tough. It's kind of tough.
That's the problem, right? Is that humans, we talked about it earlier with the funeral traditions. There is objects, whether that be, a pane of glass, a mirror, a clock.
Yeah.
There are objects that represent something beyond just their physical form, whether that be the timekeeping that a clock represents, or the dimensionality of a mirror, the idea of an other world through the mirror. Human beings, but we create mythologies around objects all the time, and so it makes sense to some extent that we would place more importance in a mirror than socks, because there is a big history there.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that is probably why. There's an object that reflects. That's what it does. That's its sole purpose. So whether that's reflecting just the imagery in front of it or reflecting the evil that took place in front of it, I can see why this particular object is in this museum. All I'm hearing is, Kit, we have to go to this museum ourselves. Which it's tough. That is just part of the job. You, me, I think Phil's busy. But I think we're just going to have to fly to Vegas. Probably stay at the Bellagio just because I think it's close by.
You think?
Yeah. And then, we'll visit the mirror and see if it has cursed us by just like doing a whole week of blackjack, roulette, slots,
Right.
seeing how well
A
it
week of
impacts.
That sounds tiring.
Yeah, well, with the Patreon money, I think we'll hopefully be able to sustain us. We are going to need a little more Patreon money this week. So I just think that's what we do. And then at the end of it, we see how much money we made or lost, and we decide once and for all whether it's real or not.
It's a real pity you're only discovering this case now because we were in Vegas earlier in the year.
That is a real crime.
That's unfortunate.
I actually, I was the only one that went into the city in Vegas.
That's right.
I've
still never been. I basically just drove through it.
That's crazy.
But hey, I drove through it to get to Area 51. That's how OG I am. I'm
You're on
like,
a
Vegas,
mission.
boring.
Yeah.
Let me get to the middle of nowhere.
And then Kit and I flew home on the same day, but I had 6 hours before my flight. So I Ubered into the city, gambled $100.
100 large.
Won $300.
Shit.
Lost $100.
Okay, we're still up.
Then Ubered out of the city. And
That probably cost you, what, $50?
Ubering in and out and 2 beers cost me almost all the money that I won.
Yeah.
So I came back just like I'd never done anything.
Yeah.
It was like the same amount of money.
The experience was completely free.
It was great. It was a really good experience.
Kind of the best you can hope for with gambling, I think.
I think winning is good. More money
Well,
is pretty awesome too. But for sure, if one of the alternatives is getting cursed by an old mirror, that's pretty bad. Granted, I will do it. I will put my life on the line and go to Vegas and visit this museum. I'll do it.
Hey, Rory, we have an increasingly long laundry bucket list of things to do.
Yeah.
Places to see, things to explore and investigate. And this is just adding to that list.
Well, this museum, as I said, it has the Dybbuk box. It has a bunch of other haunted artifacts. We could honestly bash out a bunch of stuff by going to this place.
Yeah, that's true.
So genuinely,
next time we're out there,
we're joking, but it may be in the cards. Maybe we will go out. Maybe we can talk to Zach himself. Who knows? It would actually he'd be a really fun podcast guest.
Well, and the last time we were in California, which is not the same state, but it's not too far. You know, we were hanging out with the Ghost Club Paranormal girls.
Yeah.
You know, and they were like,
They're great.
They were like, y'all need to buck up and come do a real investigation. And we were like, we're scared. Thanks very much.
I don't want to do that.
I don't think I could do what you do, but maybe we could meet in the middle. Go do a little small fry investigation.
I'm like normal. What I see in normal mirrors scares me on the daily. I don't need to go to a location where I could possibly be terrified beyond that. I don't want to see it. But if it means that I get a free trip to Vegas, sure. I'm willing to make that
No one said it was
sacrifice.
free. You have to win at the blackjack table for it to be free.
I'm ready to win. Listen, Kit, we have to come down on a conclusion. Maybe we can do a conclusion pre-seeing this mirror ourselves, and if we ever do see it in the future, we can decide whether or not we want to change up.
Hella old, I'll revise my thoughts.
Kit, at the end of every episode, we have to decide once or not we think this case is real. What do you think in today's story, the case of Bela Lugosi's cursed mirror? Bela the Ghosties.
Awesome story, awesome backdrop of paranormal, golden age Hollywood.
Yeah.
And pretty cool that this thing is available to go see, that we could go see it ourselves. Love scrying, talked about that before in the show.
Hell yeah.
But I think like the art of scrying itself, which I don't quite remember, but I think we came down on a no. I think this specifically has to be a no.
Yeah, I think the scrying episode, we judged it based on that case rather than scrying in general. But I agree with you. I actually think I could have been convinced that this was, possibly a yes, if it didn't turn out that most of the stuff Zach had said was a lie. If it turns out Bela Lugosi,
showbiz, baby.
Yeah, I guess that's the point, isn't it? Yeah, I think the fact that there's such little evidence to prove that a lot of that early stuff existed, that makes it a little bit harder for me to say yes to it. So unfortunately, it's going to be a no from me as well this week. Rats. But I'll tell you what, if you think that this case is cool, especially the part of today's story where we talk about Bela Lugosi being Dracula and this era of Hollywood, which is the early Universal Monsters era, I actually have a real treat for you. Kit, you may not remember this, but we actually recorded an episode of the podcast that was diving into the haunted history of Universal Studios.
I remember it well.
Where Kit and I actually went to Universal Studios and did the studio tour of the back lot, where not a lot of people know this, but an aircraft pilot died on the opening day of Universal Studios in California. And a lot of people claim that his ghost can be seen if you do the tours of the back lot.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very awesome episode covering that specific part of Hollywood history. It's a great one if any of today's story interested you at all.
Do you want to play a clip?
That is actually a great idea. Let's play a clip from that episode over on patreon.com. On March 15th, Universal Studios held its grand opening ceremony in North Hollywood. The whole city came out for multiple days of celebration to launch the future of movie making. As part of that celebration, aviator and stunt pilot Frank Stites was set to impress the crowd with a series of acrobatics.
Welcome to the second day of celebration to commemorate the opening of Hollywood's Studio Lot. Why, what's that in the sky? It's pilot Frank Stites, stuntman star of the silver screen.
Hundreds of attendees watched in awe as Frank performed a series of gravity-defying stunts. But it wasn't long before Frank lost control. His plane went spiraling down towards the earth, falling 100 feet out of the sky, crashing down towards the studio in a ball of fire, where he died on impact.
The crowd are like, damn, CGI is crazy already.
Oh my god, yeah, what a stunt.
It's like it's coming right at us.
Yeah.
Terrible circumstances. Well, that is, I will say, that is the problem with death-defying stunts. There's a fine line between death-defying and death-confirming.
Yeah, sometimes death's pretty hard to defy.
Yeah.
The crazier it is, the harder it is to defy. As I said, if this happens during day 2 of your celebrations, maybe skip day 3. Maybe skip day 4. Maybe skip the opening.
Make a
Give it
movie.
a bit.
All right, you've been open for like a week and you haven't done anything yet. You just had guys killing themselves in planes.
It's like,
Whoa, sorry about that, folks. Now, if you look over here, Lionel the Lion Tamer is going to whip a beast.
it's like, well, this surely isn't going to go well.
Julie from HR is going to eat a sword.
Julie, no.
Yes. An analogy that would come to mind would be if opening day of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, if an Oompa Loompa fell into a molten vat of chocolate and died. You know, at least when all those kids died in Willy Wonka's factory, by that point, he was making really good chocolate.
Right, so they did die and it didn't impede the factory's running at all.
Yeah, if he'd done it at the opening ceremony, people would be like, yo, shut this down. Shut this factory down. You're a madman. But when the kid's like drowning in the chocolate river, the mayor's like, well, hold on a second. Let's not shut this down because I love this dude's chocolate.
Yeah.
My kids actually are obsessed with his chocolate. So let's, maybe the kid shouldn't have been playing by the river. Maybe it's his fault.
Yeah, that is in the recent Wonka movie. I think he does accidentally poison everyone with his chocolate.
What?
Yeah.
But not like, they don't die.
No, I think they become very hairy over their entire bodies. I think
it's
a
like
side
a fun
effect.
thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. It wasn't anything like that dramatic.
Yeah. Well, it ruined his business, so it was dramatic.
Okay.
He was insolvent after that.
I mean, doesn't half of his chocolate do weird shit anyway?
Because all
Couldn't he have just said, "Oh, that's the hairy bars. You guys ate the hairy bars." One of his things turned you into a blueberry. Like that didn't get him in trouble. Another one makes you float, but the hairy is across the line. They're like, "That's f***ed. A 9-year-old ate that. We thought he was a gorilla and shot him."
We thought he was a gorilla. We shipped him to China. He's in China now.
Wow, there you go. If you liked that clip, go check it out. It is one of hundreds of extra episodes you can get over on Patreon. After party episodes, bonus episodes, and cool merchandise.
Why don't we help you out? We could put the link to the episode in the description of this pod. So not only are you heading to Patreon, but you're heading specifically to that episode if you want to check it out.
That's a really sweet idea. Unfortunately, I'm uploading this week's episode and I can't be bothered to do that. Check the link. Maybe it's there if Phil did it. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Bad attitude.
Of course.
You're like, check it out. I'm not going to help you. Just check it out though. Yeah.
And of course, at the end of the episode, we like to thank some of the people that have supported us on Patreon. Let's do that right now. So thank you to Kindred.
Now, I'm not an expert, Rory, but usually something that is kindred is a spirit.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I wondered where I had heard that word before. What does that mean, kindred?
Yeah, I saw you trying to slip through the cracks here, just calling yourself, I'm just hello, my name's Kindred. Yeah, pull off the mask, Scooby-Doo style. You're a ghost. All right?
I don't know what kindred means. Kindred?
Get me the dictionary definition.
Well, it's a name
Before
for sure.
I punch this nerd in the face, this ghost.
No,
went right through them.
Don't punch anyone.
They went down my throat.
Oh, it's... Oh, jeez. All right, Kindred. I think you're inside Kit's body now. Yeah, okay. Thanks for your support, Kindred.
I've been on this earth 1,000 years. Oh, sure, I got them
spatter-
out again.
Yeah, spat them out.
Jesus. So did you
Nice.
get that definition?
Kindred is one's family and relations, or similar in kind, like related.
Yeah.
My kindred spirit, my kin.
Yeah.
That makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah.
So thank you, kindred, spirit or not, for your support over on Patreon.
I don't want any trouble. I don't want to. That felt weird.
You clearly already got trouble. That was so much trouble.
I don't want any more trouble. All right. Sorry for trying to punch you.
Thank you also to Sumi. Oh my God, Sumi's going down Kit's throat again. No, not another one. Oh, for God's sakes. He said he didn't want trouble. Sumi, this is a patron that is my biggest fear manifested.
That you get sued?
Sumi. Please don't sue me.
So sue me.
So Sumi. Sumi is in the commune because essentially that is a person. It's like a scapegoat. So that all Sumi can say is their own name, like a Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever we get any legal trouble and someone is going to bring the law against us, we just wheel out Sumi, and they're like, "Sue me, sue me," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll sue you instead, you little f***er." And then Sumi gets dragged to court.
Weirdest legal strategy
It works.
ever.
What are you gonna do? Sue me?
Who's our lawyer? Kim Kardashian? God damn it.
Thank you, Sumi. Thank you for your support. And thank you finally today to Sam the Ginge. Sam, you're going to want to go ahead and classify that hair color. You really shouldn't be giving away any physical descriptions of yourself. I've learned that the hard way. That's why I've classified my own eyes.
But plot twist, I say we bring them along for looking in the mirror because, like South Park said, gingers don't have any souls. So you look into that mirror all day long. Totally safe.
Isn't your child redheaded?
Yeah, she doesn't have a soul. Or she's too young to consent to all this.
Okay. Sam, I don't know if you're interested in doing that. At the very worst, you're just going to see yourself old. So that's fine.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen to us anyway, if we're lucky.
Yes. Yeah. If the rituals go as planned, Kit and I are going to live forever anyway. So there we go. So Sam, thank you for your support. Thank you to everyone that supports us over on Patreon. Guys, this is actually your final episode of the podcast before November, which is a very scary thing to say. I genuinely can't believe that.
No, it's the last episode of the podcast in November, I think is what you're trying to say.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Did I say before November?
You said before November.
Before, so, Phil, can we, I'm going to say
Rory's
the words.
been looking into the mirror for too long. He's back in time.
Phil, I'm going to say the words December, and you slot it in there so that it like,
So
fits
now
perfectly.
I look stupid?
December.
Right.
Slot it in there. December.
Oh yeah, that should be smooth as anything.
So as you just heard, this is your last episode of the podcast in December. No,
Yeah,
November. Just end it. Just end it. Play the credits. Just play the credits. We'll see you next month in December.
Ciao.
See you later.
Ciao.